Started out as a kid in Ellsworth, Kansas, which is a very small town of 1,500 people. No traffic signals, but we had 2 attorneys. And I was exposed to seeing them in action, and probably coupled with Perry Mason on TV when I left Kansas in 6th grade. So most of my formative years were in Kansas. I definitely had my sights set on being an attorney. Attending college and how I eventually got to Carroll, the process started with my parents. I'm one of 4 siblings, so all of us were first-generation college attendees. My mother in particular came of college age in the 40s, so because of the war, family circumstances, she was not able to attend college, which became a passion of hers that her 4 children were going to go to college. And my high school sweetheart was moving to Milwaukee, and she was going to go to Carroll. This is back in days before electronics and email, so we wrote letters. So I wrote to Carroll and eventually got admitted and got a great scholarship program. And then we told her parents, my future parents-in-law, and they were supportive. I'm not sure they loved the idea, but anyway, so we ended up at Carroll together in 1972. There was a business school at Carroll at the time. The accounting program was brand new. The business constituencies, if you will, on campus wasn't very large, and there had been no real organization, and we felt like there was a growing demand for business, and we were excited. So we just formed it to. We certainly didn't have a mission statement. I'm not sure we knew exactly what we were going to do, other than we needed a business club, so let's form one. And I think it was reasonably fruitful, and I think we got to participate a little bit in curriculum design and things like that. Part of the business club, which we had just formed, we decided we should try to get a guest speaker. And so somehow Bud Selig came up as a potential, and Mr. Selig had just brought the Brewers back to Milwaukee in the 70s. We thought, well, that's untouchable for a small school like Carroll. So I went over and grabbed the yellow pages and called the Brewers office and got an assistant. And I said, we'd like Mr. Selig to come speak. And so she said, well, he's in a meeting and he'll call back in a couple of hours. So we sat around my apartment, all sort of wagering, is it 50-50, will he really call back? And he did. And subsequently came to the campus, and I think we had about 100 people. And he was so gracious, so humble. I think he was scheduled for 45 minutes. He spoke for 90 minutes, answered every baseball question there was. So that was pretty cool. And as a result of that, amongst my business colleagues and friends, my nickname became Bud for the rest of my time at Carroll, which I'm not sure I love the name Bud, but where it came from, it felt okay. So if they saw me today, they would call me Bud. I left Carroll being able to think, and think conceptually, which is, it's not a skill I had when I came from high school, and it's a skill I found out I had early in my business career. So, there's this Carroll secret sauce mystery thing going on, and then somewhere in there I learned to think conceptually, which is, I think, so invaluable, whatever your field, whatever your vocation. The ability to get to the macro, as I like to call it, what are we trying to accomplish, what's the overall goal, and then filling in what are the micro pieces, the details, and who can help solve that. Because no one person, I think, has every skill set for every part of solving an issue. American Appraisal was started in 1896, so we had an amazing legacy before us. But the world was ever evolving in valuation, so you certainly couldn't sit on your laurels. You had to keep growing and evolving and adapting, and I think adaptiveness is one of the keys to our success. The first day I became CEO in 2004, I've been working with these colleagues for 10 years. Every face in the room was familiar. We all knew each other. We'd all had success to date, and now we knew we wanted to take it to the next level. And so as I'm walking into the meeting, I realized, oh God, I'm a little bit nervous. And why am I nervous? And I realized, and nobody's face around the table changed, but I could tell they were expecting, some brilliant thought or something. I'm not sure. I said, I'd like to share one observation. There's 9 of us in the room. All of us today did at least one time, if not several times, the following. We suggested an idea that turns out got rejected or perhaps repurposed by the rest of the group. But every one of us had something that we threw out that turned out to not be the best answer. My takeaway is 9 brains are always better than 1. And as long as we remember that, and that became our operating style, you'll beat your competition, you'll come up with the best answer for your people and your colleagues and your clients. So I would tell an aspiring CEO or a new CEO, just always use the brain power around you, and you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. They're sitting there with you. Building a culture where your clients can walk into any office in any of 35 countries and have the same experience, and have confidence that if they're going to go meet Patrick Wu in China or whomever in London, they will get treated the same way as they would. Incredibly difficult to do. Easy concept. Easy concept. Everybody wants to be global. Here, in fact, here's the strategic plan. And it's easy to write the strategic plan of how we're going to become global. To implement it, to execute it, was remarkably challenging. And I didn't do it alone. I did it with an incredible team. So that was one of the biggest challenges, but we prevailed. And that's ultimately what we were, the company that bought us, that's what they were buying, was our global net. I mean, we were in a league of our own. That sounds immodest, but we were in a league of our own globally, and that's what got us the premium price, ultimately for our shareholders. I think, liberal arts is in the headlines a lot. It always has been. It's part of Carroll's legacy, heritage, an important part, in my view. Liberal arts taught me to think critically, speak clearly, and write persuasively, and those were all so important for all my successes. And that's the way I feel about my experience at Carroll. All three of those things are, whatever your endeavor, those are critical components to your success.